I'm Tony. I play the guitar.
I'm Nate. I play rhythm guitar.
I'm Alex. I'm on lead vocals.
I'm Adam, and I'm the drummer.
I'm Trevor. I play bass.
And we are
Eyes for Hire. We first got started, Alex and I are cousins, and we just started jamming. He's writing some songs, and then him and Tony were jamming, and Alex kind of brought the two together, and then eventually Nate became a part of it, and so we just kept writing songs and had a good arsenal to the point where we're just like, you know, this sounds pretty good. We should find a bassist and make this an actual thing. So we found Trevor.
Yeah, we have a story about this.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we were really desperate to find a bass player, and we're kind of looking all over, and hadn't really found anyone really. And so I decided to put a advertisement up on Craigslist, and within like half hour to an hour, Trevor called, and he came over that same night. About an hour later, and that night we kind of knew he was our guy right away, and so
2 weeks later, played our first show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Been
Bass.
fantastic ever since.
Great show. Great.
Well, our writing process actually has changed quite a bit over the span of our band as different members joined. And it started early as more of a, I would write a song, or Nate or Tony would write a song, we'd bring it to the table, and then we'd put it together as a band, one practice, and we'd be set.
And pretty much as soon as that person brought the song to the rest of the band, it was pretty much completely done. And so the parts were mostly written, so we just go in and play it. And then just recently, we started, well, not recently, Trevor first brought a song to the table. It's called Behind the Facade, and it's going to be on the album. And that's the first time that we really
took a more creative approach.
And we all got together and each wrote our own part around like a central part. So that was actually a really awesome moment in the band. Probably one of my favorite times is when we actually started doing that.
And then now we'll like bring ideas. We'll bring ideas to the table about just, you know, if it's a lick on the guitar or like a drum beat, and then we'll kind of just build around it. And it's usually
scratch.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And that's the beauty of it, is that early our stuff was so kind of simplistic, you know, element to it, whereas now as we build on a song as a band from the beginning, it's so much more, and you can tell, but that's just kind of the beauty of music. Absolutely. Is that you get great stuff from, you know, two completely different styles.
We have a song that's like mostly completely written already, and then you know, like the three of you would come, and basically Trevor and I would just fill in drums and bass.
Yeah, do our part.
But when you just start off with like, okay, this is the idea, and then you know, we all build on top of that. It's like there are moments where it's like, ooh, what if we did this? That we wouldn't have had because that song was already written.
Right.
You know, so it's just unique moments like that.
Yeah.
You can definitely, I think you'll hear that come through on the album too, if you know, especially for us. Obviously, we're involved in the process.
So yeah, we've been writing an album now for a while, a few years.
Since the beginning.
Yeah, and we decided to call it Barriers because that's kind of symbolic and relates to the fact of how like many things we had to get through to get the album done, and how many, you know, just kind of like go through adversity to just going through the process. I mean, I think we recorded some of the songs like probably 5 or 6 times.
At least.
Yeah, and so it's just been a huge process, and our album's big. It's 14 tracks, and so that itself, I mean, it's kind of an evolution of, like we said, the songs progressing, getting better, and then the recording process, which was amazing. And Ryan Confer, the guy that recorded us, did an absolutely amazing job. So it's been, we just had to get past, but I mean, we're super excited to get it out.
It's been more of a struggle with when it was just the 4 of us. Then now we have Trevor. But early, I mean, we've said since 3 years ago that we're going to have an album. It's coming out this summer. It's going to be great. It's going to be the best music ever. But now, you know, we've grown a little bit. I'd say a lot, actually, musically, and Now, I think now we have our first album.
But yeah, you know, we decided to call this Barriers. We started out, once we had our songs that we had picked out, tried recording it ourselves. Our grandpa has a studio that he used back in the 70s or 80s, so it's pretty old, but we just tried doing it ourselves, and just didn't sound good. Realized we weren't happy with it, so we tried redoing it ourselves. Took it to my dad. He couldn't really do much with it because we didn't know what we were doing. And then we was talking to our uncle, seeing if he would help us out, and just, you know, he just caught him at a really busy point in his life. So finally I was just like, oh, my buddy Ryan, let's talk to him. So that got the process started, and then we actually had all the songs done, like at least drums, most of the guitars, can't remember how far, but his computer got all messed up and we basically lost all the songs, so we had to restart over again.
From scratch.
So
Oh, man.
through this whole process of probably a year and a half, of like from when we first tried to do it ourselves to now, has been us trying to make this album, and it's just, we're all stoked to get this,
and I mean,
get this thing done, and
To finally have it,
yeah.
and to
how
have
we've
it,
pictured it in our heads.
yeah, have it
the whole
sounding.
time.
I think that's been the coolest part for me, has been hearing these songs the way that like we
Knew
we
they should
yeah,
sound.
we hear them in our head,
Mhm.
because we've really only heard these live. And
Right.
And I don't know, I don't mean to get too deep or anything, but it just seems like some kind of fate or something that, like, I mean, the way how we're all super satisfied with the way they turned out. And I'd never been happy about what we've recorded before, and now, like, I cannot wait for other people.